What's up, guys? You're listening to the Bearded Jeeper podcast, the show where we talk Jeeps, off-roading, and whatever else we want. So fill your ear holes with some useless fun and enjoy the podcast. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Bearded Jeeper podcast. Today, I have a Toyota guy on here, and well, I guess you consider yourself a Ford guy as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
You Ford or Toyota more? What do you?
It depends on the aspect of things. If I'm going to go off-roading wise, definitely Toyota. If I'm going to go daily driving, towing, stuff like that, then obviously it's going to be the Ford side of things.
So, well, first off, we'll go into introduce yourself and tell a little bit about how you got into the off-roading and four-wheeling kind of scene. How did you start? What was your first trail like? All that kind of stuff.
So basically, my name's Brodyn. I've been wheeling my whole life, whether it was with my father, and he always ran just stock F-150s, F-250s, stuff like that. But we always used to go hit the trails when we had the chance. I remember one time we set his F-250 on its side.
Oh,
That was
jeez.
that was a fun time. There was eight people in that, or 8 people in that truck.
Well, it's kind of hard around the trails around here wheeling a full-size truck like that, getting through some of these tight trails.
It can be, and I got good at it when I turned 16, and I started driving a truck every day. And then I had bought my Jeep. I had a stock Grand Cherokee. It was the 4.7 V8 all-wheel drive,
Nice.
but I could put that thing through any of the trails around this area without having any issue. I
Right.
remember I hooked up with the back of GSO one day. It was my first time meeting GSO. And they were like, "You're not going to make it through here." Mind you, the trail's 30 seconds down the road from me. I've ridden it my whole life, whether it was on dirt bikes or four wheelers or vehicles. And I was like, "I'll make it through. I'll stay in the back. Just let me go up through."
Yeah, I
And I
got it. Don't worry.
went up through without no issues, and they were impressed. But once I picked
Yeah.
up, ended up losing a cylinder in that Jeep, and it was too expensive for me to try and lift that one because the all-wheel drive, the lifts run, a 4-inch lift for that was like, if I remember correctly, like $3,700
Whew.
for a cheap lift.
Yeah, those Grand Cherokees, there's not as much aftermarket support, so a lot of them are a little bit more expensive to lift.
Exactly. So I ended up selling, or just letting it sit in the yard, and I had found the Toyota. And when I picked that up, it was a complete mall crawler. It had 20s on it. It was jacked right out in the front. It had the whole California roll on it, and it was stupid looking. But at the same time, I saw a Tacoma with a step-side bed. You never see that.
Right.
And that was the real selling point for it. I've done a lot of work to get it to where it is now. And I mean, I wheeled it as a mall crawler, but it didn't like it.
Yeah, a lot of weird noises and stuff, I'm sure, of stuff
Weird
binding up.
noises, stuff moving around that shouldn't be moving. I think a week into owning the thing, I blew out the top of the strut tower.
Oh,
That
that's
was.
definitely not good.
I'm glad it blew where it did. I took a 9-hour ride in it up to the top of Maine.
Oh, jeez.
Stayed a week up there and came back down, and I was a mile from my house when it blew.
Wow, you're lucky it wasn't all the way up in Maine. You would have been screwed up there.
Yeah, I would have been very in a very, very tight spot. But now I've got the thing. It's still down at the moment. That thing spends more time in the garage than it does on the road, but that's due to my own fault.
Yeah, sometimes you got to put a lot of money into them to get them to be reliable too. So
It's getting there. It's getting real close.
now, are you still independent front suspension in the front?
Sadly, yes. I have wanted to do a solid axle swap on that truck in the worst way. But the issue is the only solid axle that'll actually fit in that and line up decently is
Yeah.
out of an 88 Wagoneer full sized.
Yeah, and those aren't easy to come by any means.
No, and I could find an axle for it if I really did some searching, if I felt like paying for what it's
Yeah.
really going to cost me. But at the same time, I'm just going to learn how to run the IFS and learn how to run it how it needs to be run and not push my limits like I tend to do.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you never know, you might be searching around and find a set of axles, like, that's what I did with my, Cherokee I'm building on tons. I had planned to build it into quite a crazy crawler at first, but I didn't expect to fall into such a great deal on tons that quickly, and, so I was gonna wheel it first,
Yep.
like it was, but I ended up taking it, and now it's completely stripped apart and working on throwing the tons under it, so never
What'd you
know.
end up getting for 1 tons?
Set of '05 Ford Super Duty axles.
Nice. Come across those pretty decently priced.
Yeah, real cheap. I forget what he charged me, but it was like
Stupid
stupid
cheap.
low. Yeah, it was like
Huh.
one of the salvage yards near me. They had an ad on like Facebook Marketplace, and they said like message us with what you need. I'm like, for shits and giggles, let me. I'll put this out. I knew what axles I wanted to run, and they're like, oh yeah, we just got one of those trucks in. We got a Ford Super Duty right out back, and it was running and driving when it came in here. It just got into an accident or whatever.
Hmm.
Like, cool. Let me know how much you want for the axles. And he cut me a good deal. And I think I paid like $50 more, and he delivered them for me too.
Wow.
Cut him,
You got
cut
real
him
lucky
out.
then.
He cut him out and delivered them to me.
That is
So,
insane. That you don't find stuff like that often.
no, and where they came out of a running and driving truck, I know
That's
they
even better.
obviously work. So I'm probably going to keep the stock gears in them for now until I can slowly afford
Yeah.
to re-gear. I just want to fab up everything that needs to be set up
And I
to be able
think
to
if
fit
I
in
remember
it.
correctly, the rear of those was the 373 limited slip.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Did
if this one has the limited slip. I know
it
these are.
come out of a gas job or a diesel?
I think it was a gas.
So it might not then.
Yeah, because and some of them did come with 410s, but these have 373s. So,
Yeah.
but I figure that and the stock gears, and then I am upgrading the transfer case. I found a really good deal on a Jeep JK Rubicon transfer case that has the 4-to-1.
Yep.
So that hopefully will give me enough crawl ratio to spin the 40. So I want to put on it.
Yeah, that's definitely gonna that's gonna be a nasty rig when you're all set and done.
I can't wait. It seems like every time I turn around, it's like, oh, I got to buy this little part. I got to buy this little part.
Yep, I'm going through the same thing. The front diff. The reason the Yoda's been down is it's I went up. We did some riding up in the Canaan area,
Yep.
and my dumb ass said, "Hey, I'm gonna hit that hole." When Scott Peterson's been telling me don't hit that hole, I buried myself right up over the 37s in it,
Oh, jeez.
and ended up. Uh, Chris pulled me out, got out, and I started hearing some clicking.
Yep.
Like, all right, I blew CVs, no big deal. Got it home, went to go replace them. I got my passengers out, threw the new one in, all said and done. Went to go pull the drivers out, and it wouldn't come out.
Oh,
I ended up spending probably 14 hours at my garage trying to get it out. And
yep.
then my buddy said, hey, bring it over to my place. We'll throw it up on the lift and we'll try getting the hydraulic jack between it.
Right.
We got the 10-ton hydraulic spread jaws between it. Had them completely maxed out and it wouldn't come out.
Holy crap. What the hell was holding it up?
Uh,
Rust
it
string
turns
or
out
something?
it turns out the C clip had flipped sideways in there and was
Ah,
mired between the gears. So we pulled it out of the truck, split the case, and the minute we split the case, because we were planning on just pounding it out from the inside, cutting it out, whatever we had to do.
right.
The minute we split the case, the fluid was like silver, and there was bearings in the bottom of the case.
Oh, you're like, this isn't good. This is expensive.
Yep. And I didn't know the gearing in that truck because it still was the gearing I bought it with. I
Right.
knew it wasn't
See,
stock, but I also knew it wasn't like I didn't think it was like 410s or what, but so I took the whole front diff, brought it to Amco in Concord,
yep.
and brought it to him. I said, I don't know the gearing, but I want everything inside redone, 100%. And I said, I want it with good, heavy duty everything, because I wheel this rig every week and it's daily driven every day.
Yeah. I need it so it's
There,
not going to break on me again.
They were like, all right, sounds good. They ended up calling me back about a week later, said, we've got 488s in the front of this.
Oh, wow.
So I've got 488s front and rear.
That's
And they
awesome.
said, here's the problem. The only trucks that Toyota made with 488s in them, the 88 through 93 Toyota 4Runners, and it was like this many of them.
You're like, oh, another thing. Come on.
It took them 2 months, almost 2 months to find a Spider Gear.
Wow.
There was only one place I had it, and it ended up being East Coast Gears.
I've heard good things about them.
They had one, it wasn't even in their system. They found it sitting on a rack.
They're like, what's this part? Oh, that
Pretty
must be
much.
something.
And they, Amco, once they got the Spider Gear, had everything back together for me in like 2 days. They did amazing work, and they were, for as long as they had it and as much searching as they did, they priced me very well on what they did for me. And I got that back. And in the meantime, we went for a ride up to Vermont, and I decided to take the truck. Well, I didn't put two and two together, and when I called a local mechanic and asked him if it would be all right to take the truck without a front diff or CV axles in it, he was like, "Yeah." And me not thinking about the preload that the CV axles put on the wheel bearings in that truck, I lost wheel bearings 5 minutes from Canada in Vermont.
Oh, no.
So the truck got towed back to Predator Trail Gear,
Yep.
and he has been helping me. He helped me put the diff in Thursday, and he was picking me up heavy duty wheel bearings, and I'm doing ball joints as well in the front. And we're gonna replace that stuff, I think, Monday, and the truck should be back up on the road.
Keyword should. Sounds like
Should
it's
be.
been cursed lately.
Yeah, it's been cursed the whole time I've owned it. I everything in the front end of that truck will be brand new though, between tie rod ends, CV shafts, sway bar links, the rack and pinions brand new.
Yeah,
The
so you
front diff
can't
will be
argue with
brand
that.
new. The
What
the
year
wheel
is it?
bearings, ball joints. It's a 2001, and it's only got 120,000 on it,
Oh, nice.
and it's a 4-cylinder,
Oh,
turning
really?
37s. Automatic. I wish it was manual, but the automatic's nice for daily driving, I can say.
Yeah. Yeah, my
Um,
dad has one that it's the V8, and I wanna say it's around a '01 or something like
oh, he's
that.
got the Tundra. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Tundra, yep.
Yep.
And,
Those were good trucks because they were so small, but they had the V8 in them.
yeah, I had to weld on part of his, rack and pinion because the rust had started to, like,
Oh,
rot
take it
away
away.
at it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was starting to pull away from the frame, so I ended up, cleaning up what I could and kinda
Yep.
reattaching it so it would run well,
Well,
at
the
least
worst
for
part about
now.
it is I had this truck completely down to the frame a month before it broke. I had the cab lifted, I had the bed off, I had done a bunch of framework to the truck, um, just reinforcements, fixing some stuff that someone had done that wasn't safe.
Yep.
Um, doing a bunch of other things, dropped the gas tank, stuff like that, and ended up rust morting and PORing the whole frame to help protect it. And yeah, and then it broke again. It's kind of a depressing
So,
day.
basically a brand new truck at this point.
It's going to be real close. I'm not going to lie to you. In the last 6 months, I've probably had a total of driving it a month and a half, and it has gotten probably close to 5, maybe 6 grand dumped into it.
Wow.
It hurts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I haven't driven a lot this year, but I just been working on my, Cherokee, so the Wrangler
Yep.
hadn't had a whole lot of time, and now that I have a daily driver, I don't have to worry about getting stuff done on it right away and
Yeah.
headed back to work the next day. That's a great thing about not wheeling your daily driver.
Yeah. It's hard wheeling your daily driver for me, but most of the time my ride is down into town where I meet another guy. So
Oh,
it's
that's not bad
10
then.
minutes down the road. But I mean, there's some days I got to drive to Scarborough, Maine in my truck.
So you gotta make sure it's, running and driving pretty well.
Yeah. I remember one day this winter, I was headed to work, and it was probably a foot of snow on the road. And I got down over almost all the way into Barrington, and I lost 3 out of my 4 cylinders. The plugs went on 3 of the 4 cylinders, and it wouldn't run but putt about 5 miles an hour.
Oh, wow.
I putted it 5 miles an hour all the way home. It took me 2.5 hours
Jeez.
rather than calling a tow truck, because I don't even know
Well,
if a tow truck would have been out with the snow.
yeah, and tow truck, you're paying,
Buco bucks.
yeah, 75, 80, $100 an hour, depending on who you get. And
Yeah, that truck's been towed plenty of times now. I just got to get it to a point where I can comfortably wheel it and know that everything is going to be good. I've just been checking things off the list, basically.
yeah, yeah. It's nice having a rig too that you can drive to the trail and you don't have to trailer everywhere.
It definitely is. I don't, to be honest, I don't understand the point of having to trailer something all the way to this trail to run a 6-mile trail
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
have to pick it
especially
back up with the
around
trailer
here.
again.
Like
Like, it's
if
not the trails around here 100 miles long. They're between 2 and 6 miles long at most.
yeah, it's between a couple of towns. Like the only trails I would trailer to around here would be like if I if I was going up to Jericho. I mean,
Yeah.
I took my daily driver up there, and I was like the only guy that didn't trailer up there.
How was that? Because I know they all headed up there today.
Oh, it's pretty rough trail.
Pretty
Like,
gnarly.
yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Like, some of the stuff is like buggy rated. Like, I had to go around like one section. Like, it's all the other rigs I was going with when I went, they were on like at least 40s and tons, and like they
Yeah.
were well built. And here I am on 37s and little tiny, basically stock Wrangler for the most part. I mean, it's two and a
Yeah.
half inch lift, but stock gears and stock skid plates and everything else. So
Yeah.
it was definitely an eye opening experience, how gnarly those trails are up there. And I guess it depends on what. I guess there's some other trails that aren't as hard, but of course, we had a big group of well
Yeah.
built rigs, so we took the
Harder
hardest
trails.
trails that they had. But like some of it, like there's one section you can get at, like you get through the main hard part and then you kind of loop around the whole park area there, and
Hmm.
that's not as hard through a lot of that. But and then there's this one like skinny little bridge that you have to try to
I
maneuver
hate
through.
bridges. I hate bridges.
Well, yeah, and you can easily fall off the side because there's like no sides to it, and it's just kind of like wooden logs. And I mean,
Yep.
some of the guys, they were so wide that they had to just they took the trail right beside it, um,
Yep.
or the woods right beside it. So it was definitely an interesting trail. But like, yeah, that trail or the trails up there, and then like maybe like Ma Bell or I guess Old Florida Road got closed.
Yeah, I heard that.
So that's kind of sad because I like that. That was a pretty good trail. But
I've been down that once, and that was a good trail.
yeah, so
Um,
like some of those are like the only ones I'd really trailer to around here. I want to get my Cherokee though set so I can trailer it out west. I want to hit a lot of the like Moab and
that
Rubicon
would be
Trail and stuff
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
I know they've been shutting some trails around my area down, or attempting to, and everybody in the town's been trying to fight it. Excuse me one second.
Yep.
Mute myself there. That way you didn't have to listen to me cough.
That's all right.
They've been trying to shut down some trails around my area. There's a conservation group, Blue Mountain Conservation,
Yep.
and the owner of the group personally owns almost 8,000 acres around
Wow.
Barnstead, Rochester, and Stratford.
That's a lot of land.
It is a lot of land, and he actually passed away this last year, and his son took it over.
Oh boy.
And his son's been trying. They shut down one trail, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago now, which was an amazing trail. We used to ride it on the four wheelers because it wasn't really. You could get a truck down there, but you would
Right.
have been tearing up a lot of shit and it wasn't worth it. But there was a big waterfall and stuff like that. And I don't know how familiar you are with this area.
Around the Barnstead area and stuff.
Yeah.
I've been on some of, like, the Class 6 roads and stuff around there, but I haven't been on a whole lot of trails down there.
Yeah, okay. So they're trying to shut down Snackerty Road.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Um, and we've been fighting it pretty hard. They've been trying to do it for a couple years now. Um, I know the bridge got destroyed this year by another Jeep group that doesn't quite take care as well of care of the trails as would be nice, but
Yeah.
I've been trying to go down and rebuild it. But trying to talk to the towns and everything to get them to let me rebuild it has been hard. And
Yeah,
their solutions just shut it down.
it's pretty sad, like, a few bad eggs have to ruin it for everyone kinda thing.
It is, and it sucks, but you just kind of try to clean up their mess and make it look better on all of us.
Yeah, and that's one thing I wanna try to push with, hopefully, people listening to this podcast and stuff. It's different for trails in different parts of the country, but, at least for New England, a lot of our trails are Class 6 roads, and if we don't maintain them, they can just go back to being public land or, private land. The landowner can
Exactly.
take them back, so
Exactly. And it's all about the maintenance. And if you go out there, leave it in better shape than when you came, whether it's cleaning up someone who threw a tire out there or even just, oh, there's a can on the side of the trail. Let me grab that.
yep, throw it in your
I'll tell
rig
you
and
what,
take care of it.
I've come out of trails and had the whole bed of that truck completely full and gone back through again and cleaned up again.
Oh, I believe it.
Just me coming home from work like, oh, I hit this trail and then going down and being like, this is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, we took, multiple vehicles out of Cat Hole,
I
that
saw
were all
that this
burnt
year.
up.
Yeah. I wish I could have made it to that. I was actually up in Maine at the time, helping my grandfather out.
Yeah, we had to get special permission from, like, the town and, the police and everyone to make sure whoever, took those vehicles up hopefully gets held accountable for dumping
Yeah,
vehicles up there. But some of them, like, you could tell, like, the VIN number was scratched off and they
they were
tried to burn every
stolen
part.
or yeah,
Yeah, something, a drug deal gone bad or something, or they stole the car and threw it up there.
exactly. And the problem is stuff like that is what gets trails shut down. And people who don't aren't part of the off-roading group who do things like that don't understand how it affects everybody else. They think, oh, I'm just dumping this car out on this road that nobody rides or
Yep.
stuff like that. They don't see how it affects the people who use those roads, how it affects the town, how it affects the landowners on those roads who have to use those roads to access to say a remote piece of their land.
Yeah, and, like, what I didn't understand is, like, I mean, I guess unless the vehicle was stolen or something, like, you could bring it to a scrapyard and get a couple $100 for it.
Exactly. Most of the time you only need a title. And
Yeah.
I get people don't have titles for them half the time. You can cut them up and bring them at that point.
Yep.
Or apply for a title through the state. Because I know my buddy, we have probably 12 or 15 vehicles sitting in his yard that he lost the titles to
Right.
that he's been trying to bring to the scrapyard. He applied for all the titles last week. It's
Yeah,
a
and
pain in the ass process, but you got to do it sometimes.
I've been to some scrap yards that they don't even ask for a title. You
Oh
just
wow.
pull in,
Check the
they
VIN.
they don't even do that. This one I went to, they just check they get the weight and, then they pick it up and throw it in their pile, and then you drive back through and they check the weight again and give you a check for whatever
However much it
metal you.
is.
Yeah.
Wow. I know I stopped at a scrapyard to I do sprinkler work for a living, fire suppression.
Oh, nice.
And I stopped at a scrapyard Friday to drop off some old sprinkler heads I'd pulled out of a building and stuff. And they even questioned me, "Where'd you get these?" Oh, well, read my shirt. That's what it says.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
what I
this
do
for
for a
work.
living.
We pulled these out of an old building. Um, Depends on the scrapyard you go to, I guess. I tend to go to either like the Farmington Metal Yard
Yep.
or the one in Rochester. Can't remember the name of it now. But those are the two I tend to go to, and they require titles and stuff like that. I know
I
I
mean, I
saw,
think it's a good thing so you don't just, like, steal a vehicle and
yeah,
be like, "Hey, scrap this," and
pretty much. I know I was at the Farmington Metal Yard Friday, and they had a Bronco 2 sitting there.
oh, nice.
Oh, the body looked in good shape on it. I got up underneath it. The frame was good. The floors were good. I didn't
You're
check if
like,
it had a
you
motor.
gonna get rid of that?
They had it sitting off with the cars that they don't crush quite yet.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them sitting there, and I'll tell you what, I've always wanted a Bronco too. Those short little Broncos were definitely something
What do you
to
think of
be
the new
desired.
Bronco?
If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't like it one bit.
No, not at all.
I don't see it as what a Bronco was or is. And I guess I think the same thing about the Ford Rangers, the new Rangers, though.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of those either.
I don't like the look of those.
I know they've been talking about bringing the Bronco back for years, and I've been excited for it because I love Broncos. My neighbor down the road who has that Raptor owns
Yep.
a Bronco as well, full painted out to OJ Simpson's, just identical. He's got a trailer that is an old Ford truck bed body that matches it.
Right, right.
And he was super excited. So we've always been excited about those. And they came out with them, and were kind of just like, oh.
You're like,
Uh,
that's it? Like,
in my opinion, it looks like a Land Rover.
yeah, I think they rounded too many corners and it kind of lost that like
That
boxy,
square.
yeah, the style of it.
If they had gone with the square look and not tried to go so, I feel like they went very fancy with the new Bronco. Everything was just a little bit over the top.
Yeah, everything. It seems like all the vehicles lately are becoming like more rounded, aerodynamic, space looking. Like,
Which you don't need in something like a new Bronco coming out. You don't need that aerodynamic. You need that, oh, the wind hits me, I feel like I'm going to tip over type deal.
yeah,
I I
it's
like
like
the option that
the.
they're. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna mention the new the Hummer too.
Yeah, I
That new
saw that
electric
yesterday.
Hummer. That's
I
weird
saw that
looking.
yesterday. I've never been a fan of Hummers anyways,
I
but
like the original ones, the H1 like
the
military
H1s aren't
one.
bad. Yeah, those ones are the only ones that I find they can be cool if they're done right.
Yeah, the H2, H3 though, like no, that's
No,
mall
but
crawler
like
right there.
the new Broncos, the only thing I like that they did was they brought them stock with 35s. You can get the stock 35 option.
Oh yeah, I was hearing about that on another podcast, Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. They're
Yep,
a Toyota based podcast, and they were talking about one of them was getting or had a pre-order at least in for one of the new Broncos, and yeah, that's one of the options. You can get the wheel wells that accept 35 stock. So
that's pretty. I think that's a cool option. What
definitely.
I was wondering, and I hadn't actually done research into it, is if they came with the same upgraded suspension that the Raptors come with, that Fox float or whatever it is,
Oh, I don't know.
because that would be a good.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd
a
be
selling
definitely be
point
an.
right there.
It would be, especially for me, because I know those Raptor suspensions are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I just got mine, and it's a 2011, so almost a 10-year-old truck now. And like you hit bumps, and I've had people in there, and they're like, "Man, this thing rides like brand new for 2011," and
Yeah,
it just kind of glides, and you feel it like floating over all the bumps, and it it just blows my mind.
it's crazy how well they did with those Raptor suspensions in those. It was definitely something that was ahead of its time, especially for those.
Yeah, what I didn't know when I first started looking into the Raptors too is that when they first came out with it, they entered one into the Baja 500,
Yep,
and the
yeah,
truck placed in the top whatever. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna make this into a truck, and that's basically what the first gen was is
it
the
was it was a Baja.
Baja
Those
truck.
Raptors were meant to be Baja rigs.
Yeah,
They've
uh,
kind of worked away from it a little bit with the newer when they got into the newer style, but if you get like the 2011, 2012, 2013, those were the
yeah,
those were the prime of
it's
the
a great
Raptors.
truck. I'm too afraid to actually wheel it and take it off road right now, though, just because it is a daily driver and it looks so nice. I mean, I might hit some
The
small trails, but
problem is they're also a wide truck. They're not.
it's incredibly wide. People don't realize how much wider it is than any other truck.
You base that up against a F-150, and it's got a good 6 inches on it easily.
Oh yeah, like I think it was my father-in-law's truck is one of the new Dodge Ram 1500s,
Yep.
and we pulled them up side by side, and he's like, "Oh, it's not that much wider." Like looking at him, you're like, "Ah, that it doesn't look a whole lot wider." But then we took the measuring tape to it because he didn't believe me that it was wider, and
Yep.
yeah, I want to say it was like 6 inches wider than that. So,
What do you think about the new Dodge Rebels?
um, I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings on those. I'm not sure about them yet.
So I'm not a big Dodge guy. They've never been something that strikes my fancy. But I'll tell you what, the one thing I like about those new Dodge Rebels is the adjustable suspension in those.
Yeah.
You can drop it. What is it, 4 inches, and raise it 4 inches. That's
Is that on
definitely.
airbags or
I think it is airbags, to be completely honest with you.
the only
And
issue I have with the airbags is they are prone to failure a lot of times. Like I know on any of like
exactly.
the what is it, the Land Cruisers and stuff that had them, and
Yeah.
they would always just fail and then drop, and then you could only drive them at a certain height. And
Yep. I definitely think it's a cool concept. They just got to work out the bugs with it.
yeah, I mean, it would be really nice if like you got a load in the back or something, and then you able to
Exactly.
jack it up a little bit so it levels it out.
I liked it because I'm constantly trying to load things in the back of that Toyota, and
It
I've
doesn't
got
like it, huh?
I've got 12 inches of lift in the front and 9 inches of lift in the rear with extra leafs in the rear,
Yep.
and it is tall. So having that, being able to drop like that in those Dodges, I seen a guy do it over at one of the racetracks I was at when I used to race motocross, and it was crazy. He dropped the ass into that truck, and the ramp just leveled right out even.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
It was definitely it was cool to see it in person and see how you can use it.
So, to continue on with the few questions I have, so what are future plans with your truck? Like, do you plan like building it up more? You said possibly a solid front axle if you can actually find one, and
Yeah, so definitely that would be a plan in the future, um, along with like the solid front axle type upgrades with the higher end upgrades I'm looking for. I'd like to do a motor swap in the truck at some point. It's hard for
something
me to
like a
do it.
V8 or something.
I'm kind of bouncing back and forth between a 383 stroker.
Yep.
I'm a big V8 guy. I love the sound of a good V8.
Oh, hey, of course.
But at the same time, I know a guy who dropped a twin turbo 2JZ with the 6 speed into his,
That would be an option for sure.
and they fit really well.
Less modification, easier to kind of just drop in almost.
Yeah, basically. Obviously, at that point, you're going to have to do axles. You're going to have to do that whole ordeal.
Right, right.
But that's obviously something that'll come in the later future. Near future is going to be, I don't have a winch on that truck.
Ah, so you need a
So
winch.
I'm doing a front winch on it. I'm going to go with a 13,000 pound winch. It's big for that truck, but I get myself in some situations where I could use it.
Right, right.
Um, I'm going to be going with, I'm going to go through the whole rear diff. I can rebuild the rear diff myself. The front clamshells, I don't know how to do them.
Right, yeah.
So I didn't dare to attempt it. I'm going to rebuild the rear diff with new gearing and possibly a locker.
A locker just in the rear helps so much.
I don't dare to lock the front just with the IFS and the CVs. I know I'll snap CVs every other day.
Yeah, I heard having IFS makes it kind of weird putting a locker in the front anyway.
You risk snapping CV axles very, very highly because any sort of bounce in that
Yep,
front end and you're on the throttle,
just
it
gone.
torques them right out. It doesn't give that movement so the other tire can use the power like an open diff would.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Um, that was almost the route I had to go though with this whole not being able to find a spider gear was go with a locker kit, and I didn't really want to, so I was glad we found a spider gear.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Besides the wench, I'm gonna be doing it's gonna be being sent in with a couple of the Predator Trail gear rigs. Be Eric and Don's rigs. We're all gonna send them down to their tint shop.
Yep.
I'm gonna do 35 on the front, 5 on the rear window and 20 on the sides.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm gonna be doing a full sound system in it, just because I still got the stock radio, the stock speakers, and it kills me every day. My Jeep had 4 12s in the
Oh, so
hatch.
yeah, that really kicked, and then you're getting in this, and you're like, "Where's the
Yeah,
sound?"
so the problem is with such a small cab, it's a single cab. There's no room behind the seats. I can barely fit a friggin' rifle behind the seats half the time.
Can you get like one of those under the seat mounts or something?
So it's in each underneath each seat is there's about a hollow, about an 8-inch hollow,
Yep.
which is a weird design, but I'm gonna be buying the hideaways. I'm gonna buy 2 10-inch hideaways, one for underneath each seat,
There you go.
and I'm gonna be going with a probably a nicer stereo. I'm not gonna go with anything like touch screen just because I don't like the touch screens. They seen it happen plenty of times where it's getting nice and cold in the morning, you go to touch it and
Just
cracks out.
shatters. Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna be doing door speakers and tweeters, which I think in that single cab, it's gonna sound really, really good with all that.
Yeah, you pack all that sound into a tiny space, it's gonna sound really
It's
good
gonna
as
hit really good. It's gonna I'm primarily listening to classic rock and country, but there's definitely times where I like to get into some older rap, and being able to have that access with the bass and everything it's nice. It's helpful.
you'll definitely have to make sure you put some of that, like, Dynamat in some of your door panels and stuff so it doesn't
Rattle.
hear rattling and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. That's what I had to do in my Jeep.
that's
Um,
nothing worse than when you're listening to a good song and then the bass
just
hits too much and
and it
then
just rattles everything.
yeah, you're like, "No, this sounds like crap now," so
The other thing I want to do is I want to get some half doors for the truck. Right now, I don't know if you saw the picture. I pulled the doors off a few times this year.
I saw that. That's pretty neat.
It's different, especially with a truck like that, but I feel half doors are going to look a lot better. At least tube doors at that. I
Yeah,
might go ahead.
that's what I was gonna ask if you were gonna do tube doors or, like, the full, like, skinned half doors kinda thing or
So I might build a set of half doors for it. I might go get a set of doors out of a junkyard and build a set of half doors.
chop them up and
Because that way I can keep um, speakers in them.
oh,
If I
yep,
build half doors, I can do custom speakers in them.
that makes
But
sense.
definitely going to be doing something along those lines because it's nice during the summertime and it's fun. And I'm basically a Jeep, right?
Yeah, and you kinda almost have to have the doors because when you take the doors off, you're kinda losing a little bit of that structural integrity of your truck, right?
A little bit, not as much as you'd think. It's mostly I want the half doors because I'm sick of having the mud thrown up on the carpet. I hate having to clean that carpet and that, and I don't really feel like tearing it down to the bare floors.
Yep.
I know a lot of the guys in the group will, and a lot of the guys in that own Jeeps will tear them down to the floors and they'll pull the plugs and they'll run that year round.
Right, right.
I don't feel like trying to do that, and that I like it to still look presentable on the inside a little bit.
Yeah, having no carpet kinda, like, it heats up more and
And
it
in
just
that single
kinda
cab, I'm right over everything.
yeah, it makes it louder in there, you hear all the engine sounds and stuff too.
Oh, and it's loud enough as is. That truck comes out, it dumps out right over the axle, straight piped all the
Oh,
way back.
jeez.
It drones in the cab enough as is.
Yeah, like, I got the carpet out of my Wrangler just because, I one of the door seals on the passenger side seems to leak quite a bit, and, like, every big rainstorm, I'll have, like, a little puddle in the passenger side, so I ended up ripping the carpet out, and I haven't put it back in ever, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking about just, bed lining it at this point, and
So that brings me to another thing that the truck's gonna be getting. In the spring, I'm gonna be painting the truck.
what color are
I've
you going with?
decided. So I'm gonna go with almost like a fishing game green,
Oh, that'd be nice.
but I'm gonna be doing it in rhino liner, the whole truck.
Yes.
I'm sick of scratches. I'm sick of rub marks. That rhino liner holds up fantastic to that stuff.
That stuff's amazingly tough. The Rhino Liner, Line-X, all that, like,
It
I've
is,
seen
and
tests with the Line-X and they coated a watermelon and they dropped it from, like, on a huge ladder, some, like, 50
yeah,
feet in the air, and it just bounces off the ground, and you're like, "How's that
exactly.
possible?"
And I plan on doing the whole truck in that. And I actually finally found a cap for the truck. I searched for a year looking for a cap for that step side, and I happened to see one on Marketplace and went
Yeah,
and
I saw
picked it
you
up
had a picture with the cap on it, and that looks pretty good.
really, really cheap money. and it doesn't leak. All the glass is good. The only thing is the rear lock needs to be replaced on it.
Well, that's easy enough though.
It came with the clamps for the bed, everything.
Wow.
Um, when I mean cheap, I picked that cap up for $100.
Oh, you can't argue with that.
No, and being searching for one for years, I was very happy to find it.
Yeah, like where are you? I'll bring it to you. I'll bring cash to you right now. I need it.
I did. I got home from work. I saw it on my way home from work. Made my guy I was riding with stop because I was about to lose signal, so
Yep.
I could message the guy. Messaged him, said, "I'll be there. Shoot me your address." I got home, grabbed my F-350 in my trailer, and I was to his place in 20 minutes and
That's
got it.
awesome.
It was definitely probably one of the better investments I've made for that truck. Just there's no bed space in that, and being able to put my tools in there during the rain in the winter for work, and being able
Yeah,
to keep my
especially a
recovery gear
single
back
cab.
there.
You don't have any. You can't just chuck something in the back seat or something. So
No, and being able to put my recovery gear back there and keep that back there and some tools, it really is helpful. So I want to have the cap match to the truck when I do it. Um, Other than that, there's not a lot more plans for the truck in the near future. It's just little things, really,
nice.
kind of just as they come up.
So, what is the hardest trail that you've been on?
That's a tough one because if we're talking mud or rocks here, because mud, that truck is where it dominates.
Yep.
The mud is where that truck likes to be. It's not a rock crawler by any means. The suspension's too stiff. The IFS in the front doesn't flex down whatsoever. I get about a
Right.
half an inch of drop, and I only get about 3 inches of upward travel.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
done.
exactly, it maxes itself out, and I hate it. That's the reason I want to go with a solid axle. But hardest trail where I've definitely puckered the most, I think, has to be one of the trails we did up in Canaan. I put that truck up on three wheels, and I you could have blown a feather at me and I would have tipped over. My bottom of my rear tire was almost 4 feet off the ground.
That's a cheek clincher for sure.
I ended up having two very big guys come over, and they sat right on the bumper, and it brought the truck down just enough to the point where I
Get traction and
not even traction. I punched it and sent it off that ledge
oh
because it was, if I kept crawling forward, I would
yeah.
have taken the both of them with me right up and over.
Yeah, that's the scary thing about I've seen a lot of people like jump on the bumper or something or try to
It,
pull the vehicle down and like yeah, it works in a pinch if you're trying to keep someone from rolling over, but
it's
it is
dangerous.
scary and dangerous. Yeah.
There was another Toyota in that same spot that day that I had gotten out, and I was kind of sitting there spotting and helping guide and watching that. I was standing right where that everybody was picking up that tire, because you'd come around this little hill or this little corner, and then it drops like this down into
Right.
where there was like a bunch of missing rocks into a creek bed. And another Toyota ended up coming through, an old SR5, solid axle and everything. And she dropped and that tire picked up, and me and another guy leaped for the side of the bed and pulled her truck back down, and she ended up having to do the same thing that I did.
Oh wow.
It's just a very tricky spot, and if you don't if you don't hit it the right way, and it's hard with the Toyotas because trying to make that corner to get in there, the only way you're able to hit it is the wrong way.
Yeah, and you don't have the suspension travel like you're saying to be able to hit it and feel stable still.
I'd love to do a full suspension swap on that truck, but it's too much money for me to spend right now. I'm trying to buy a house, and I'm trying to get myself set up here, and it's too much money for me to spend at one
Y-
time.
Yeah, and then when you buy a house, the bills never stop coming.
Exactly. But
Uh,
I definitely am trying to keep myself in line with what I'm spending on that truck, and it's not working so well.
yeah, especially with it being a daily driver, you don't want to have it down for too long, too.
Yeah, I've been working real hard to get it back up and going, and hopefully next week it'll be back up and going and on the road, and I could do the break-in process for the front diff, and I'll be back out on the trails hopefully within a couple weeks.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's not too much time left in the wheeling season up here, unless you snow wheel a little bit.
I definitely do snow wheel. I throw on a set of winners on that for like a set of small tires for the winter,
Yep.
which the truck looks so stupid. They're stock tires on that, but I'll tend to throw on my big tires if we're going out on a snow wheeling trip or something. And
Yeah, I haven't
uh,
done much snow wheeling. I might hit a little this winter, but
it's definitely tricky, to say the least. We went on a few last year. The first one I went on, it was a night ride. It was through a couple of the trails around my area, and one trail that I didn't even know existed around my area, to be completely honest.
you're like, oh, that was there the whole time.
Really, it's 2 minutes from my house, and I've hunted that area my whole life and never realized that was an actual Class 6 road. That's why I'd never ridden it.
Right, right.
And the whole trail is going up, and it's like this, and it is just rocks and stuff like that. But when we went up, it was all one sheet of ice,
Yeah.
glare ice.
Yeah, snow's one thing. Ice is where it gets super dangerous.
You can get traction in snow. You can't get traction in ice very well. I
Yep.
remember we did one over in Ware. We did a winter ride, and I watched probably 3 or 4 people attempt to go up this hill, and then they just started doing 360s down.
You're like,
They
oh, well, that doesn't look fun.
and me running on bald tires at the time. I was on my winter tires. I may have done a few hot suppers on them. And I just put it in 4 low and sent it up the hill, and I was the only one that made it first try somehow. But
4
it's the
low and
difference.
go.
It's the difference in the wheelbase. Is I get over some things that people can't get over, and I do. Half the time, I'm in 2-wheel drive on a lot of these trails that we do because I have the wheelbase and I am able to kind of get, once I get the front end up over, the rear end will follow like nothing.
Yeah,
That's the
just
one thing I can say about that truck is the wheelbase is perfect.
well, that's the thing about pickup trucks too, is they'll have all the weight in the front. So if you get the traction to get the front over, there's more traction in the front than the rear a lot of times because you don't have that weight in
Exactly.
the bed. So then you can just drag it up over.
Exactly. That truck has definitely been, it's been a learning challenge, big learning curve, learning to wheel that compared to wheeling that Jeep or
Yeah, a
anything else
whole
that
lot
I've done.
different.
It's been a huge learning curve, and even today, I still don't know everything there is to know about wheeling that truck. I learn new things about how I should hit things every time I go out. But if you're not
Right.
doing that, then what's the point, right?
Yeah, you got to learn, and I think like doing a lot of your own maintenance on your own rig and stuff like that. So if it breaks on the trail, you know, oh, I can fix that. It's something simple, but
I've done the work on all my own vehicles basically my whole life.
yeah,
Whether it was dirt bikes or whatever, racing motocross, I couldn't afford to pay a mechanic to work on that thing.
no, super
I
expensive.
So I've grown up doing that, and um, like even now, I'll pick up side jobs where I go, oh, I need this, this, and this done on my car. All right, bring it up, do
Yep.
it. Here you go. And actually, I just picked up a fun little project for me and my girlfriend. We picked up a free gas powered golf cart.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It is, and I gave myself a week to have it running and driving. I had it
Yep.
running and driving in 3 days. So last night we just painted it. Today we're gonna put a second coat of paint and some clear on it. Just doing
That'd be
things to
fun.
make it, bring it
Fun to
up, and
bomb
then
around in.
it is. We took a nice little ride on it yesterday. I got to get a muffler for it because it is straight out of the header at the moment, and it
Super
is
loud.
loud. But no, I've always worked on my own things, and my father's definitely been a big helping hand with that. He taught me everything he knew, and he went to school for body work,
Oh wow, yeah, that's an art form in itself.
and he is immaculate at it. I sideswiped the whole side of my Jeep down a road one day. I was coming down and hit a corner a little too quick in the winter, and
Yep.
came in and I took out 4 posts, like 4 of the street signs,
Oh, gee.
right
Tink
down the
tink
whole
tink
side of
tink
my
tink.
Jeep. Pretty much the from the rear door back was crushed right in.
Oh no.
And I had a trip to Colebrook to make the next day.
Yep.
And he said, leave the Jeep, take my truck, go up and go. I was going snowmobiling, but it was a trip that I'd booked out and everything up there with some buddies. And he was like, just go up. He was, when you get back, I'll have this done.
Wow.
Like, okay. I came back and you couldn't tell it was ever been in an accident.
That's awesome.
He had pulled all the metal. He had reworked everything, repainted it, and it was couldn't even tell. Looked like it came off the showroom floor still.
That's impressive.
He's definitely a great body man, great body man, and he's taught me quite a bit. He knows I'm still very, very rough at body work, but
Yeah, I don't even try, honestly.
it's an art form. It really is. It's so difficult to learn, and it's not even what he does for work.
Really?
He does sprinklers just like I do. He
Huh.
just it's just something he went to school for and never followed through with it, and now he just does it on the side.
I see a lot of people doing that. They'll go to school, go to college or whatever, and they'll have this like degree in a certain profession, and then they don't end up doing it for their career. And it's just like it's just all that money you wasted to go to school or whatever. And
It's out the door.
yeah, like that's the same thing with my wife. She went to school for photography, and she still kind of does it on the side, but she doesn't do that anymore, really. So
Yeah, see, my girlfriend, that's what she's really into is photography, and she's been really she's great with landscape stuff. She's great with people. I've been trying to get her better with vehicles and
vehicles difficult.
teaching her what to focus in on, whether you don't want to focus in on like the body angles and stuff like that. You want to focus in on something very small in particular, whether it's you're focusing on the headlight and you're even if you're running down the whole side of the vehicle with the picture, it's just that headlight is what the focus in is on. And
Right.
it's been something she's been a learning factor. And then getting vehicles in motion is even harder for her. It's hard for everybody, to be completely honest.
You have to have a really high shutter speed so that way it's not getting a lot of that motion blur if you want it nice and
exactly.
crisp and sharp. And
Um, our friend, another group member, Rachel and Cody. Rachel's very good with the camera, and she took some great shots of my truck um, out on one of those Canaan rides, and they were fantastic. The way that they
yeah,
came out, and I absolutely loved them. They've been nice to have. That's what I made my banded members thing out of, and everything like that.
yeah, it's always nice to have some good quality pictures of your rig.
It is nice, and she takes some great still shots of it. My old lady does. She takes some amazing still shots of it when we're out. Whether it's she took some last time we went up to Jackman, Maine, that were absolutely fantastic. Mountains as far as the eye can see, and then just the truck just sitting there with a long dirt road all the way down, like
Oh, that's awesome.
beautiful shots. And I'll tell you what, she likes that. She loves that truck more than I do. Some days, hey, can we go out and work on the truck? I
All
mean, yeah,
right.
I've got the parts for it. I was just gonna do it when you weren't around. No, let's go do it. If I could tell you
Perfect.
one thing, she will sit in that garage with me for hours on end, and it is fantastic to have that.
Sounds like a keeper then.
She's been learning slowly on how to do things, like working on that golf cart yesterday. She took initiative. She started doing things on it. I just stepped back and I looked. I was like, wow,
All right.
all right,
Yep.
good job. But like, she helped me do the brakes on the Ford yesterday, and she got right down in there and was helping out, and
That's the
it's
way you
definitely
learn.
it is, and I love having her help me with it. And she'll look at me, hey, let's go for a ride. All right, I'll go to jump in the driver's seat. Get the hell out.
I'm
But
driving. This is mine.
that's what she learned to drive in. She um, didn't want to get her license. She had been in some bad car trauma and everything like that, and
Yeah.
I'm the only one she'll ride with.
Oh
She
wow.
uh, she won't ride with anybody else, whether it's even driving. Like, first day I picked her up, first time we'd met was I picked her up in my classic car,
Oh nice.
and I left where I'd picked her up completely sideways. And
Bad idea.
apparently she knew she could trust me right then and there with driving.
Wow, just
And
because you could like control it basically, and
some of the stuff that we've done with her in the car, I for sure thought she would get out. I mean, there's still some spots she'll get out,
yeah.
and which I completely understand. I want to get out half the time. But she does fantastic. She has more faith in me with driving that thing than she probably should.
That's awesome.
It's definitely helpful and nice.
It's always good to have a good relationship that it's not like, oh, you're just spending all your time out in the garage. Why don't you spend some time with me? Or
There's definitely times where she's like, "Can we not be in the garage tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, works for me." I get home from work and I'm in that garage 6 out of the 7 days a week
yeah,
till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and then I'm up for 3 for work. It's long days.
Yeah, it's a lot of give and take, I think, in any relationship.
It is, and it's amazing that she sticks with me through all the bullshit I put her through with that truck and off-roading and everything like that. But she does a great job with it, and she has made a lot of friends in the community, and everybody seems to love her, and it's great. It
That's
really is.
awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it for my questions. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we called it an end to this podcast? I think it's been close to an hour now. So,
If you don't mind, I'm just going to, if you don't mind, I can plug my,
oh
I
yeah, go
made
ahead.
an actual Instagram for the truck,
Yeah,
and
go
I'm
ahead
just
and
trying to get the word out there.
yeah, plug all your stuff, and I'll make sure to link everything in the show notes of this, and the when I put it on YouTube, I'll link it all in the description so people can check it out.
Perfect. So the Instagram for the truck is, give me 1 second, I gotta go figure it out. It's two underscore tall underscore taco.
2_tall _taco. I don't
Um,
even honestly know if I'm following you. I better I will. I'll do it right here live on the podcast. So
I just created the page actually last night because I've been saying to myself, I need to create a page for the truck. I'm sick of posting on my personal page about the truck. It's constant. That's what all my personal page was. So it's definitely it's going to be built up very soon here. It's going to be hopefully I'll get a good amount of following on it because I constantly have people, hey, do you have an Instagram? Hey, do you have an Instagram when I'm driving down the road? And it was definitely something I needed to do and create. And
now what is it again? Two is it?
TOO
Oh, that's why I put the number 2. T.
underscore
There
tall
we go. Got
underscore
it.
taco. Yeah.
There we go. I'm your 10th follower.
Yes, you are.
So let's make sure to get him up to try to get him up to 100 by hopefully people listening to this. So
That'll be awesome.
we'll try. We'll try to get you to 100.
Other than that, there's really nothing I have to plug. I'm pretty simple. I try not to do a lot of social media stuff.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult, but I think it's a lot in what you put into it. A lot of people see
It is.
if you see negative stuff, it's probably because you're looking for negative stuff and posting negative stuff.
Exactly.
You see you basically get what you put into it, kind of thing.
Which
So.
Congratulations on the 5K. I saw that the other day that you hit 5K.
Not quite yet. Getting close.
Not quite yet. You're getting close.
Yeah. What am I at? I'm like 20 something subscribers away from hitting the 5K.
You're so close then. But, it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. I think by the end of the month, hopefully here.
Most definitely, yeah.
And then like TikTok, I just hit 6,000 followers on that, which I haven't put a lot into lately. But
I didn't even know you had a TikTok. I'll have to go follow that because I've got one as well, which is mostly truck stuff.
Yeah, I just do kind of like behind the scenes, a lot of stuff that people might not see. I might do a few funny things and a lot of like, oh, I'm doing this on the truck or something, or on the Jeep, or it's not long enough to make a YouTube video out. So I post it
I
on
might
there.
as well. I'll plug my TikTok as well. It's just Brodyn V. That's all it is.
Got it.
Other than that, I'm pretty good. This was a great podcast. It was great to do something like this. I've never done it before.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you coming on. A lot of times I've been having a hard time getting guests because a lot of the other people I want to have on are on the West Coast, so time zone kind of thing makes it difficult. So
no, it's been great coming on, and it's been great doing this. It was definitely a cool experience.
Yeah, no, it's been really awesome talking with you. So I appreciate it again.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to hook up and do something along the lines of wheeling or something like that next year.
Yeah, definitely. I'll hopefully I'll have the Cherokee running next year.
That'll be awesome.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Bearded Jeeper podcast. If you want to support us, the Patreon link is in the show notes below. As always, guys, stay bearded, stay jeepin'. I'm out.